You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in. I tell you something. I did something today that I have never done before. And I will not be doing this again, but I want to tell you about something I did today that will never happen again. And I probably shouldn't even tell you about this. I'm not talking about you, Kathy. I'm talking about the listeners.
Yeah.
And this involves the live stream on YouTube this morning, okay? Today, I wore a shirt that I've had in the closet for a couple of years. I've not worn it once.
Yeah.
And today, I just grabbed it and put it on. And the reason I wore this shirt today, and I'll tell you what the relevance of all this, is it's dark, right? There's no lights on in the room. And if I can find a shirt that's hanging and it's clean in the closet, I'm going to put it on.
You mean you don't plan your wardrobe way in advance?
No. I know I'm going to have a shirt on and a pair of pants and shoes. That's all I know.
Let's hope. And
I just grab what I can find in the dark. And I wore this shirt today. I've never worn this shirt before, and I just coincidentally wore it for no particular reason. And then I'm reading the YouTube channel comments, and several people told me that the shirt looked like a hospital gown. And because of the camera being kind of close up on YouTube, it looked like I was wearing a hospital gown. And when I saw the first comment, I'm like, whatever. So I went after the second or third comment and looked at the video. I said, you know what? That does look like a hospital gown. So what I did that I have never done before, I will not do again, and I should not be telling you all I did this. I threw this shirt away. So it will never be worn again. So that's some feed. I know. Now I'm going to be hearing everything. I'm going to be getting
It's very unlike you.
Yeah, I'm going to. Well, it did look like a hospital gown. It does look like a hospital gown. And
you had one shirt, I remember. I don't usually nitpick Brian's clothes. I really don't. I'll buy him some shirts, and he'll go buy shirts, and I don't ever really tell you what to wear, what not to wear. I'm just not that kind of wife. I'll be like, whatever. I mean, if you look really bad, I'll say, don't wear it. There was one shirt you wanted to buy that was, and what you'll do is, because I can't always shop with Brian because I'm disabled, so he will FaceTime me sometimes from the store and get my opinion, which I think is nice. And you tried on one shirt that was the ugliest color I've ever seen. I can't even describe it. And you love this shirt. And I said, Brian, that is the ugliest shirt. I said, if you buy that shirt, I will not go out in public with you. That's how bad this shirt is. It's so ugly. It makes you look horrible.
I remember that.
And you just absolutely argued with me about it. And I said, get it then. Get it. But I said, you're not going to wear it with me around you. It's horrible. And I said, if you wear it on the radio, people are going to make fun of you. And I think you're a little colorblind or something. So you got the shirt, and then you came home, and Emily said, Dad, that is the ugliest shirt. And then you returned it. Yeah. So, but that is rare. Usually you're pretty good with the way you look and stuff. So now you're caving into peer pressure because people said your shirt looked like a hospital gown, which it kind of did. And you just threw it away so you never make that same mistake twice. So, it's so unlike you to do that.
So what I'm going to be hearing now are the fashion reviewers on everything I wear every day on YouTube. And I'm not going to react in the future ever again. But that time, people were right. Okay, so there's this this bizarre thing happened today, okay, with this, what's this Bud Light girl?
All right, there's this.
What's the name?
Dylan Mulvaney.
Okay, Dylan Mulvaney. Okay. So let me just give you a little background on why we're talking about this today. Okay, so Dylan Mulvaney, that's the Budweiser girl?
Yeah.
Okay. This morning, I got up and on Twitter, I'm seeing all these Dylan Mulvaney. Okay, I'm seeing all these Dylan Mulvaney ads for different things like a Nike sports bra and stuff. And Elon Musk must be pushing this into our Twitter feeds because I do not follow this person or anything they're interested in, but it's all over my feed. It's probably like advertisement.
Yeah.
And I saw the Nike sports bra with Dylan Mulvaney, something with Dylan Mulvaney in a lady swimsuit and all this. And I thought that it was a joke. I thought that Dylan Mulvaney was making a joke that now they were representing all these other companies. And then I come home today and you said, no, it's real.
Yeah, I mean, I read it. This Dylan Mulvaney, I read, now has a deal with Nike for sports bras.
But no boobs.
No.
Dylan Mulvaney is a
guy, has a guy's body.
Has no boobs.
Very small little.
But he's
so skinny.
Man boobs.
Well, I think what's happening is because I really was like looking, not that I wanted to.
Oh.
Because he's so thin. I think he's taking hormones, and there's a little bit there, like a double A. But it is so bizarre. So I read the article that Nike has hired this guy, and I'm going to call him a guy because he's still got a penis, as far as I know, and has a man's body. To wear sports bras, to model sports bras. I even sent this to our daughter. She's Generation Z. She's younger. She's hipper, and she said that is absurd because I like to get her opinion on these things. And I thought I was being punked when I read this article, and I sent it to you, and apparently you thought the same thing. And I'm like, is this for real? Dylan Mulvaney, and I did a little research, a little bit of a deep dive on this, because I really haven't been following this person. He has over 10 million followers on TikTok, which is huge, pretty big. He's had deals with Kate Spade. He's a Broadway actor. And a year ago, he decided he was going to become a woman, or that he was going to finally be a woman. And he's on like his 367th day of being a woman. In his TikTok, every day he says, 365 days of being a woman. That's why Budweiser was celebrating him for being a woman for a year, whatever. And so he's really popular and very trendy right now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, okay? 10 million followers on TikTok. Now, my theory on TikTok, I don't think is a crazy theory, and I think a lot of people have this theory. This isn't like some unique theory that only I have, okay? But I'm under the opinion, this is my theory on TikTok. TikTok, of course, everyone knows is China. Everybody knows that. I believe TikTok is part of the war that China is waging against the United States. And I think TikTok is being used by China to destroy the foundations of this country. And a lot of people like this Mulvaney character have these overinflated subscriber and follower numbers because they're being pushed onto people. Like, for example, on my Twitter, I was talking a few minutes ago about how I woke up this morning, I got all this Dylan Mulvaney stuff, just like I did over the weekend with the Budweiser stuff. I do not follow Dylan Mulvaney or anything that would connect you to Dylan Mulvaney. That's not my thing, okay? I know it's not yours either, but it's in all of our Twitter feeds. TikTok is doing that.
Oh, this person's really China, being pushed and promoted.
And China.
He's got big money behind him promoting him, for sure.
China is destroying the military age men in this country. We have a generation that's
they're feminizing the men.
Beyond that, we have a generation that is manless. We have a generation that is manless. You were showing me a video on YouTube a week or two ago. It was a husband and wife who were putting some furniture together. And the wife, she was a good-looking woman, young girl, like 25, and her husband looked like AOC's boyfriend. Just looks like he's never been in the sun.
No, very doughy with the Birkenstocks.
And the girl is taking the lead on putting the furniture together. He doesn't even know what to do. And we have this Generation Z, because millennials are now like middle-aged. Generation Z is a manless generation, and that is going to weaken everything. I was talking.
It shows you the power of social media and
it's TikTok. It's TikTok. It's
other
China
things too, but it also shows you the power of media and television
pushing
and
stuff
how it
on you.
Shapes a generation.
Well, I was talking on the radio the other day about something we were talking off the air. We watch a lot of YouTubers that travel and stuff, and there's a trend among YouTubers to go on this Virgin Voyages cruise. Virgin Voyages is the Virgin Airlines. They have a cruise line now out of Florida, and it's an adults-only cruise. There are no kids allowed. And there's a common theme among all these YouTubers who take this cruise. They don't even know each other, but there's a common theme. They all say there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And then I realized when we watched the last one where someone said there's nothing to do on the Virgin Voyages, this is a Generation Z crowd cruise. The only thing to do is hang out, meet people, and hook up. And this generation, they don't have sex because half of them are gay, right? And half of them that are gay are in the closet. The other half don't know what gender they are, right? And the guys are girls and aren't manly enough to even try to pick up on girls. So they have nothing to do on this Virgin Voyages cruise ship because Generation Z is not into heterosexuality.
What they're doing is they're
into weird things.
They're taking the power away from the alpha males. And
there are no alpha males.
They're putting, with this younger generation, they're reshaping what it means to be a man. And what it means to be a man is to be a woman and to put women in charge. And I definitely think there's something going on behind that with China. And they're trying to feminize men. And there's a definite movement of toxic masculinity. They're putting women, very woke, white, liberal women, in charge of these companies. And they are the ones bringing in these new brand ambassadors, like RuPaul, who just now has a deal with Jack Daniels. They are specifically targeting products that appeal to men, to alpha males. And they're bringing it. This is not an accident. And I had said yesterday on the show that I think they're trying to change their demographic and go for a younger audience. They don't want our business anymore. No. Jack Daniels, this is not an accident. They want to piss off their usual demographic, and they don't want our business anymore.
That's correct.
And they want the younger demo, and they want a woke demo to buy their product, and they're basically hiring these people because they know the kind of reaction they're going to get. They're triggering the right. I read an article about this, how the left is successfully triggering the right by hiring these transgendered spokespeople, and that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, Kid Rock went viral shooting up a bunch of Budweiser. Travis Tritt eliminated all Budweiser from his tour. He's a big country singer. I'm not saying they shouldn't do those things. And I think if you want to boycott a product, that's your right. But they are triggering people on the right to react. And what they're doing is it's like they're in their mind, not mine. In their mind, they're bringing the bigotry to the surface for everyone to see. And they don't want to be aligned. They really don't want Republicans buying their stuff.
Which is most of the country.
They don't want the alpha males drinking their product. I've seen many celebrities and other people that are very woke, and they're like, well, I don't like this thing we're going to talk about with Candace Owens, how she tried to hire a decorator and he refused her business. Of course, he won't get sued like the bakers. He doesn't want her business because of her politics, and that's very common now, and that's his right as a person to do that. You shouldn't have to work for anybody you don't want to work for in this country. But these people on the left don't want to work with us. They would rather go broke than work with us anymore. People on the right I don't think are like that. If somebody came to my house and I needed a certain, like our lawn man, he's a liberal. He's always given Brian a hard time about Trump. He doesn't like Trump at all. But have I fired him? No, he's a nice guy. We had a nice conversation yesterday, and he comes every 2 weeks. But I'm not going to fire him because he doesn't like Trump. He's making a living. That's ridiculous.
He's one of the few lawn crew guys that's an American.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's been with us for a couple years. But every time Brian's here, he gives Brian a hard time. Why do you like Trump? This and that. But have we fired him? No. But people on the left don't want our business anymore. Well, so they're hiring all these transgender people to really get that kind of reaction.
This thing with this Mulvaney thing that's going on. This is my take on. There's a lot to say here, but okay. RuPaul is doing. RuPaul was different, okay? RuPaul's
getting Jack Daniels.
RuPaul is a character, and sometimes you see RuPaul as out of character in their regular clothes.
RuPaul is a drag queen, not a transgendered person. So, he's a man who dresses as a woman for showmanship.
RuPaul is an actor,
right?
And RuPaul is a character that I don't even know the name of the real person, but that they do, and that's a little different. This Mulvaney is insane and is a complete lunatic. And if it's not a normal person, off. Yeah. And what this stuff with Nike, with the sports bra and these other things. Oh, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday.
It's so absurd.
These corporate level things are done by New York and LA advertising firms. And of course, those are very liberal areas. So that's why they do what it is that they do. And I am just in shock about the sports bra thing.
I know,
and this is what I believe. And I've said this.
It's nuts.
I've said this recently, and some people agreed with me on this. Surprisingly, I didn't think anybody would agree with me on this statement. This transgender stuff is so stupid.
It is.
And this Mulvaney is such a weirdo. Like RuPaul isn't just an actor and a character, is a talented performer. This person is just no talent and is strange.
Well, yeah, I mean, this person is worse than a Kardashian.
So, because I'll forget my thought. Okay, I'm sorry. But
it's okay.
I already forgot. Oh, no, I remember it. Okay. Sorry, guys. All this transgender stuff, like we're talking about with Mulvaney, the men athletes playing in the girl sports, is so stupid and absurd. And this is an unusual thing for me to say about such things. I believe it's so stupid that we should not get involved in being activists against it because it's so stupid.
I agree.
It's going to burn itself out.
Yes.
And if conservatives like Michael Knowles is obsessed. I mean, I almost think he's got some weird thoughts in his mind. He's obsessed with transgender stuff.
He is. It's weird.
It's very weird. But if conservatives are activists hardcore against this transgender, the liberals will dig in on it.
Well, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a reaction out of conservatives. Like I said, this is why they're hiring people. This Dylan guy is very trendy right now, and he's very clever. Whoever's behind him, pushing him, he's really making a fortune. And I think you're right. I think there's big money behind it, and for a reason. And he's just letting it happen because there's just something not right here. It's just very strange.
Absolutely.
That he's all of a sudden sponsoring all these things and doing all this and getting written about. I mean, there's some big company behind him pushing him, making all this happen and triggering the right. I mean, there's just something else going on here.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what, but it's almost like corporate. Almost like corporate manipulation, psych ops.
Now, maybe you guys will think this is shallow of me, and perhaps it is. But this Mulvaney character not only is a complete lunatic, is classless and is repulsive to look at and listen to and watch their behavior. They're a repulsive person.
Yeah, I went to his TikTok today because I'm not too familiar.
You have TikTok?
No, I did it on the desktop.
Oh, don't have it on your phone. TikTok is spyware.
I did it on you can go on there on your desktop. And I went in there and looked at his account, and he dresses up like a little girl a lot of times. He did this one thing where he dressed up like Eloise from the Plaza Hotel, Eloise Books, and rented the room at the Plaza, the Eloise room, and he had pigtails and was dressed like Eloise.
Oh my gosh.
And imitating, it's like something out of Silence of the Lambs. It was so bizarre and creepy. And I don't know anything about this guy, and I'm not trying to label transgender people a certain way. I'm just speaking about this guy in particular, this Norman Bates guy. He is it's just what he looks like to me. I'm not saying he's a bit, anything like that, but just the look. He's weird. He's weird. I don't get it other than they're using him to trigger the right and it's working and they're getting, I agree with you.
No, I agree.
People shouldn't react. They should ignore it.
Yeah.
Don't buy the products if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, like Kid Rock, pulling a stunt. Of course, he gets clicks and views and goes viral out of that. But I just think it's an overreaction. Well, it's funny, but
let me tell
I just wouldn't give them the time of day.
This marketing stuff's going to backfire for a number of reasons. because, like I said, if it was RuPaul, they could get away with it because it's a character, there's talent.
Well, and he's famous. He's well known. He's been well known for a while.
This is just weird, and it's really exploitation of the mentally ill to put this person that
he's not normal.
These companies that like Budweiser and all, they are accountable to shareholders. They have boards of directors that are accountable to shareholders.
No, I think you should definitely not buy their product.
What they have done is so bad to these are classic.
What about Nike?
These are classic American brands that are being damaged by this mental patient.
I mean, he is a spokesperson. This guy weighs about 90 pounds soaking wet. He is a spokesperson for sports bras.
With no boobs.
It is also a war on women. Like, women are actually finally getting upset over this. I read several articles with this Nike thing. That women are very upset over this partnership he has with Nike to promote sports bras, because now he's taking a work away or whatever, that they just feel it should be a real woman. Things with the left, they always push things too far, and that's what's going to happen with this. And I think it's already happening. They just go too far.
Yeah.
And it goes from the sublime to the ridiculous. Yeah. Yep. And people are just like, this is just stupid. I mean, when you read the comments in these articles, everybody is unanimously, this is the dumbest thing. What are they smoking? It's crazy. I mean, the Budweiser was bad enough, but to be a spokesperson for sports bras. And then I saw his video on TikTok where he's like doing exercises in his Nike sports bra. He doesn't even know how to exercise. He doesn't even know how to do a jumping jack.
Yeah.
This guy is like, he could knock him over with a feather. There is nothing athletic about this guy. Mm-hmm. I don't even get it. I don't think this guy even eats. He's so skinny and no boobs, like you said. And it's just bizarre. It's just a bizarre person.
Yeah. Now listen, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Robert Allen Miltenberg invites you to time travel with him to the Roman future. His new novella, available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. It's the golden age of Rome, a time of peace and prosperity. And Scadius Commodius Lavatorius is its greatest scientist. But for all he's achieved, one question haunts him. Will Rome survive the test of time? There's only one way to find out. Come along on this cosmic romp of an adventure. See if you can read the signs any better than a brilliant scientist can. Prediction, science fiction, allegory, national glory. This is a satire at its most gladiatorial. Center stage in the Circus Maximus of your mind. A story of time machines and timeless politics, strange Roman cuisine and gambling parlor tricks, spinning gold and crossing the river Styx. That's the Roman future. Available on Kindle and paperback. Go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble now and visit The Roman Future by Robert Allen Miltenberg today. Are you looking to make money through Forex trading? Look no further than Hyrax Forex. With over 5 years in the business and a community of over 6,000 members who are earning big profits every month, Hyrax Forex is a trusted and reliable choice for traders of all levels. To start your journey towards financial freedom, visit HyraxForex.com today and see why so many traders are choosing Hyrax Forex as their go-to trading platform. Don't miss out on the opportunity to join a winning team and achieve your financial goals. HyraxForex.com. Are you struggling to connect with your teen? Are you worried about the troubles your teen is facing in today's world? Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to faith-led parenting with the book from Script Seeds, Parenting Teens Through Faith, available on Amazon. Parenting Teens Through Faith is your essential handbook to raising confident, resilient, and empowered teenagers. This book provides practical advice for providing a strong, faith-based foundation for building character, virtues, and resilience in your teen. You'll also discover essential biblical principles for providing hope and confidence, no matter your faith background. Start building a stronger, more resilient family with Parenting Teens Through Faith, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. This book is perfect for church groups. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Now, I want to talk just briefly about this Clarence Thomas stuff. I'm not going to get into the details of the allegations. The allegations are as credible as the indictment against President Trump, and it's all a diversion. Right now, the left are accusing Clarence Thomas of taking bribes in the form of vacations and things, and you're going to hear a lot of details about this. Let me tell you something, okay? The Democrats hate Clarence Thomas, and what they're trying to do—
they always have.
What they're trying to do is create a scandal around Clarence Thomas, force him to resign.
Yeah, he better not.
So that Biden can appoint some liberal wokester transgender person to the Supreme Court of the United States.
That's what they want to do.
It'll probably be a Hispanic, Latinx, transgender Supreme Court justice.
Oh, it'll be a transgendered for sure.
And it is very important for people to circle the wagons and stand strong with Clarence Thomas like we do with President Trump. And you know, Clarence Thomas was very, very close friends with Rush Limbaugh. He married Rush to one of his wives. I can't remember if it was his first or the one that he left behind when he passed, but he married one of them. I think it was the first wife he married Rush to. And he's a good guy. And this guy, Clarence Thomas, has been attacked in disgusting ways since he was nominated to be on the Supreme Court. And Clarence Thomas is the only good thing that H.W. Bush did.
I think
when he was
there's nothing
president.
there. He had a rich friend that flew him places. The Obamas were flown and treated by celebrities all the time. Richard Branson, other people flew them, put them on their yachts, paid for vacations. The Bidens, I mean, that happens. I mean, he has a rich friend that pays for him to— that doesn't mean it's a bribe. He's just— the guy said, look, I pay for a lot of my friends to go on vacations. I got a lot of money and I'm happy to do it. Doesn't mean there's no quid pro quo here.
We all have friends and they'll say, oh, let me take this, for you. It's like cigar money for somebody like that.
If you're a billionaire and $100,000 is pocket money to you.
Yeah.
And you have friends in high places and you want to send them on a yacht and this and that. The only time it's a problem is if there's a quid pro quo. If this guy's making policy.
Like Biden with China.
Yeah, exactly.
He takes money from China, then he lets their spy balloons fly over.
That. I wanted to talk about this thing with Candace Owens here.
We're going to talk about Candace Owens because something happened with her. Candace Owens is now trying to tell us she's going to support Trump
now
again.
She's going back. That's exactly right.
Let me tell you, she's a liar.
Yeah,
she trashed.
She's an opportunist.
She trashed Trump, and it was very personal.
Yeah.
He wasn't taking her advice. Well, excuse me, who the hell are you? And Candace Owens, she was very nasty about President Trump. Talked about his ego and everything. And I suspect it's caught up to her. So far as her following and everything, people are very upset with her.
Well, and Trump's getting more popular.
So she wants on that train now.
Exactly. So this guy, her and her husband, this shows you how much money she has, which is fine. She wanted to hire a very well-known interior designer, David Netto. I've never heard of him, but he's a well-known designer to decorate their home. She said her husband, George Farmer, wrote a very polite email to Netto. And she said he responded back. She says here, the interior designer, David Netto, told her husband he would rather get beat in the A with a wooden plank than work on their Nashville home. Conservative commentator Owens said that her husband, George Farmer, wrote the most polite email approaching Netto and complained that his response would be deemed unacceptable if it had been sent to a black liberal. They would have said it was like Jim Crow. Exactly. Could you imagine if the Obamas wanted to hire somebody or Beyonce or any other liberal black person and a white designer said, I don't want to have business decorate your house? They would be blacklisted.
Yeah.
She said she recounted a spat in a lengthy interview with Vanity Fair in which she spoke about her media career as an outspoken black Republican, her changing views on Trump, and even a potential run for office of her own. Oh my God, her ego's getting crazy. Says here, she went to Paris Fashion Week. Yeah, that was with Kanye. The incident thrust Owens in the limelight. Okay, wait, let me get to the part with the designer. She said her husband reached out to him, blah, blah, blah. And obviously it's strictly political, why that's happening, basically. And he just said, So like I've said before, liberals, they see us as very dangerous people now. They see us as insurrectionists, as terrorists, as horrible people. They don't want our business anymore. They want us out. They want us ostracized collectively. And they're just basically denying it. And then she said that she's, she said she on her Daily Wire show, she was suspicious of Trump since he was rude to her following an interview where they clashed on the vaccine.
And
she said she criticized Trump.
And by rude, it's that she had some advice to give to President Trump and he wasn't really interested in taking it.
Yeah, but so now she's changing her mind. I mean, look at Melania when she was first lady. They wouldn't even put her on magazine covers and designers refused to work with her. But you have bakers who refuse to bake cakes that get sued by people and say they're bigoted. But it's okay to refuse her service.
I'll tell you this about the
double standard
about the designer. Okay. Couple things. First, from the designer's perspective, obviously that's a nasty email he made. But Candace Owens is a troll, okay?
Oh, well, that's for sure.
Candace Owens is not only a troll, Candace Owens is a troll who did something that was very self-destructive. She dropped Trump, and she was very nasty about it, okay? Very nasty about it.
Yeah, now she's changed, doing a 180.
So I don't know this to be fact, but I would not be surprised if Candace Owens contacted a liberal designer knowing she'd be rejected so she could get publicity and get sympathy from the right and try to get back in the MAGA fold. And this story, by the way, is a lead story today in the Daily Mail, and it's all over the place.
Well,
so I think the story is I don't want to say fake news.
Maybe she targeted him.
It's created news. She probably targeted him. She very well could have.
You said that about the bakers, that a lot of these gay activists will target a specific baker they know is going to reject their cake idea, and then they can move forward with that. Yeah, she's a huge troll, so I think you're right about that.
And the thing about Candace Owens, okay, since she said those terrible things about Trump a while back, I haven't listened to one word of hers. I don't. If I see her on my Twitter, I don't read it. I'm not interested. And I would bet you that there has been a negative impact of other MAGA people through either her views on the Daily Wire or something.
Plus, she defended Kanye with his anti-Semitic stuff.
Yeah,
that didn't help
that's
either
true.
With the Jewish community.
But dropping Trump in a nasty way like she did has cost her a lot of her clout. And I'm sure it has. So I don't believe this story. I think she created an incident to get sympathy from MAGA, get defended by conservatives, and get in the press. Because what Candace Owens has done very successfully, I mean, she's been very successful because of this. She trolls people that are celebrities.
That's exactly what she does. And then she gets in the news.
She triggers them to respond to her. Yes. She gets publicity, and then she elevates herself. And I think she did it with this interior decorator.
I think you're right. And I want to know in the comments, how many of you subscribe to the Daily Wire? And if you do, is it for Candace Owens' show? I don't know anybody that's subscribed to it, but if you're subscribed, I'd like to know. They do have other content. They have other people. I don't like Ben Shapiro, and I think Candace Owens is a phony, and she's an opportunist. I don't like her anymore. I used to, but you're right. She doesn't like Trump, then she likes Trump, then she doesn't like Trump.
I don't
She's
trust
wishy-washy,
Candace Owens.
and she trolls celebrities, and it works because now she's the front story in the Daily Mail, and I think you're right. She manipulates the press. She's very good at it.
Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Your support does help us out a lot, and it is greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
And our Patreon supporters, you have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And if you're not sure how to access those, we post the commercial-free podcast episodes on the Patreon page, okay? If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode, and there's also a direct link to our Patreon page on my website, briancraigshow.com. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air shout-out thank you on every episode. The names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P., Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Cindy, and K-Mac. Thank you so much, guys. These are our top Patreon supporters. Okay, now...
let me say one more thing about this Dylan Mulvaney. This is what I don't understand, other than that they want to trigger the right. There are so many amazing women out there that Nike could work with that are athletes that are, could represent their brand. So many out there that they, like this LSU basketball team, this Angel chick that won't go to the White House. Did you hear this? This is interesting what happened with her. They might hire her, but so many amazing women that are athletes that are real women. What happened with the LSU team? They won the NCAA championship, right, for women's college basketball. So when you win, you get invited to the White House, typically, right? LSU is a predominantly black female basketball team. The team they played in the playoffs was Iowa, which is mostly white. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want to sound like a liberal, but we know the Bidens are bigots. So Jill Biden invited the predominantly black team to the White House. The winners.
And the winners they invited.
She invited the winners, which is what you do.
Yeah.
Then she invited the losers.
Which is unheard of.
Never happens. And they're all saying it's because she's racist. And I agree with them. I think she felt bad for the white team, and she was uncomfortable with all these black girls coming. And that I don't think she's even aware of it. The Bidens are racist. We know this. And so the black team is refusing to go. Yeah. You don't invite the losers to the White House. It's a privilege to be invited. That's part of winning, is you do it. And that's the big controversy with that. And for once, I'm going to agree with that assessment. Usually I don't like to say things, but we know how the Bidens are. And she invited this predominantly white team in addition. And I think it was a racist thing
Jill Biden raised Hunter. And then they've got their daughter, and you know what they're like. And then she's been married to Joe since the 70s.
Yeah.
So she's just like them. She just presents herself like a librarian in the public, but she's just as scummy as all of them. She's lived and raised all of them. Now, before we go, I want to say this. If you are listening on one of the podcast platforms, we're going to say goodbye. But if you're listening on YouTube, there's going to be a quick break at the end, and another segment's going to come up. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're on the podcast platforms, when I say goodbye, that's going to be the end of the show. But if you're on YouTube, stay tuned, okay? Because there's more to come after the break. When I say goodbye, we're going to go to a break and come back on YouTube, but not on the podcast platforms. I want to say one last thing, though, on a little personal note, other than my throwing my shirt away that looked like a hospital gown at the beginning. I know you guys may have heard me or Kathy reference this a few times. I am on, and I don't say this lightly. I really don't say this lightly to you guys. I may say this to Kathy from time to time, but not you guys. I am on the verge of an exhaustion breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last 6 months,
you work too much.
I have been pushing myself, and I know everybody works and everybody works hard. I'm not putting myself on some pedestal that I'm the only person that works, but I'm on the verge of an exhaustion breakdown, and so I'm not going to stop doing what it is I'm doing. But you got to bear with me a little bit. I don't even know.
Slow down for a little bit.
I don't know if I'm going to slow down.
Yeah, you are.
I probably should slow down. But
cut back on the trips to Mar A Lago for a little while.
Yeah, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. But what's going on with me is I got a lot going on, right? I do 2 shows a day. I've got the radio show in the morning, got the podcast, and and the YouTube channel. And there's a whole bunch of work that goes on during the show. The easy parts are the show, the podcast, and the radio show. The stuff that's before and after is tough. And, in the mornings, a lot of you guys have heard me over the years talk about waking up at 3:30 in the morning. I actually have changed my schedule in the last few months. I've been waking up at 2 or 2:30 in the morning to do show prep. And I have a longer drive to the radio station than I used to have. And so I have to get up a little earlier for that.
Yeah.
But the radio show has like my YouTube channel has done this too, but the radio show has exploded in popularity beyond anything I ever dreamed I would be on the radio, okay? And it's big. I mean, it's really big. So the reason I wake up between 2 and 2:30 in the morning is I'm doing about 2.5 hours of show prep work at home before I leave to go to the radio station.
Yeah, you have a longer drive than you did, like an extra half hour.
The drive to the radio station in the morning is not that bad because there's no traffic. It takes me about 30 to 35 minutes to get to the radio station in the morning, which is not a bad drive. But when I get off the air, I've got a lot of things I got to do.
Yeah.
I got meetings to go to. I've got to meet with clients and production work and everything else. And because when I get off the air and I got to head out and start my business day, that's 9 o'clock, right?
You've already been up since 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's rush hour time. Yeah. So it takes me an hour, sometimes 2 hours to get home, and then I've got meetings and stuff to do. And it's finally kind of catching up to me. And the podcast, I've talked to some of the Patreon supporters about this on our Patreon podcast. The podcast, it takes a lot of time. In fact,
yeah, it does.
We got to do prep for the podcast. Then we record the podcast, and then I have to do the production for the podcast. Then I have to upload it to the podcast platforms. And every podcast episode I have to make 3 versions of it. I have to edit a version with audio processing and everything to put on the podcast platforms, right? Because we're on every podcast platform has the Brian Craig Show podcast. Then I have to do another version that's a video version for YouTube because we upload it to YouTube. And then I have a commercial-free edition for the Patreon supporters. So every podcast I have to do production times 3 because each one of those platforms takes something different. And the podcast is about a 3-hour event through all the work. So and then of course when we upload the podcast, we set it up for a live premiere on YouTube with a live chat. And so Kathy and I are in the live chat. So the podcast takes 4 to 5 hours a day. And the radio show, if you include the show prep, is another 5.5 hours, maybe 6 hours of work a day, plus all the and I've just gotten to the point lately where I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it.
I keep telling him to slow down.
So
he just ignores me. So I don't know what else to do.
I don't know, and I don't know why I'm telling you all this. And I'm
worried you're gonna have like a heart attack. Or my brother-in-law had a heart attack at 41 years old.
Yeah.
My sister's husband.
Yeah.
And I worry about you. You're at that prime age.
Yeah.
In your 50s now, and I keep telling you to slow down, and you'll say to me, "Nope, I don't need to do it." But I'm glad you're finally realizing.
Well,
I want, for example, I want Brian to take off Memorial Day. He never takes it off. And you always tell me that you regret not doing it. And I always say, please take off Labor Day, Memorial Day. So you have a 3-day weekend. So I am begging you to take off Memorial Day. See, I don't know.
Off the radio.
Yeah. Off. Take the day off. Sit home and do nothing.
Well, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But anyway, guys.
See what I mean?
I don't know why I'm sharing all this with you. I guess because I'm just feeling like wiped out. And I was telling Kathy what I feel like doing today, and this is like crazy, right? I feel like once I get the podcast done and uploaded, I feel like getting in bed and going to bed.
Then do it.
At like 5 p.m.
Do it.
I'll then go waking up in the morning.
I'll leave you alone, and you can just lay in bed and go to sleep.
It's I don't know. It's just something my body's kind of telling me something's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to listen to it.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, so if you're listening on one of our podcast platforms, the program is going to end now. But if you're listening on YouTube, there's going to be a quick break, and then we're going to come back, okay? So if you're on YouTube, don't go anywhere, okay? I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. I'm revealing more personal stuff than I normally do today.
Something weird's going on.
I don't know what's going on. Well, because I'm so tired. I'm feeling loopy because I'm tired.
You have to go to bed early tonight. You're only getting like 5 hours of sleep a night.
Not even. Like 4.
That's part of the problem too. He'll stay up till 8 or 9 and we'll put a movie on and he'll be like, oh, let's watch a movie. Like to watch movies together. And I'm like, you really should be in bed by 7 at the latest. Like, that's what you got to do.
Okay. So listen, we're going to sign off, but if you're listening on YouTube, don't go anywhere. But if you're on the podcast platforms, Thanks for listening. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Are you a truck or car enthusiast looking to upgrade your ride? Look no further than GroundZeroCustoms.com. GroundZeroCustoms.com is an online store specializing in aftermarket performance and appearance upgrades. They have a vast inventory of high-quality parts and accessories, and they have everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. GroundZeroCustoms.com offer the best brands in the business, including Baja Designs, Mickey Thompson Tires, 4Play, and that's just the beginning. Whether you're looking for lighting upgrades or suspension modifications, they have you covered. Plus, GroundZeroCustoms.com understand that each vehicle is unique, which is why they offer a wide range of specialized parts and accessories. Upgrade your ride and make it truly your own. Go to GroundZeroCustoms.com and discover the possibilities. You will find an unbeatable selection and everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. Start shopping right now at GroundZeroCustoms.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Well, I saw President Trump today in person, and it was a very sad day. On my YouTube channel, I have a YouTube video that shows this event, but President Trump left today, flying from Florida to New York to be arrested. And we don't know what's going to happen now. And, you know, it's Monday, middle of the day, first day of the work week, and it is hot. It was 88, 89 degrees. And there were a lot of people there. And not only were there a lot of people there, there's a route that the president takes from Mar A Lago to the airport. It's one street. He lives on the same road as the airport.
Yeah, it's like a direct shot.
Yeah.
It's really a couple miles.
Yeah, it's called Southern Boulevard in Palm Beach County.
Very convenient.
And along Southern Boulevard, there are certain pockets where people gather whenever President Trump is driving by. And I was at one of my favorite spots today. And when you see the YouTube video, I think you'll really enjoy it. But when President Trump came by, after he drove by, I was really tearing up. It is so sad what they're doing to this man and what they're doing to our country.
You know, it's just the culmination of the weakening of our country that's been going on with President Biden. He's checked out. We're rudderless. And we have China spying on us, balloons everywhere. India is no longer using our currency. You know, our military's weak. This is all part of China's plan to weaken this country.
Yeah.
And the arrest of an ex-president is also part of that plan. I mean, how strong is a country going to look when they have an ex-president who did nothing being arrested? When you have all these presidents in history, in our modern history, that have committed crimes that we know of that are very corrupt. They get away with it. Nobody does anything about it.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a political move that everybody is saying, but it's not going to stop these Democrats from what they want to do.
Well,
and this is what they've been working on for years and years.
Last night when Marjorie Taylor Greene was on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl, and Leslie Stahl kept wanting to get Marjorie Taylor Greene say she'd raise taxes because the government doesn't have enough money.
Right.
And she said, no. And, and Leslie Stahl said, oh, do you want the U.S. to default on our obligations? We don't want to default. Arresting a president of the United States is the United States defaulting on our obligations. It makes us people are throwing around Banana Republic, and I don't think people really understand what that means. It means if you're a banana republic, basically your country is run by criminals.
Yeah.
And Latin America, I think
that's a fair assessment.
I know a lot of you are from Latin America, and we have a lot of listeners in Latin America. And I've been to Latin America many times. I've been to Mexico several times. I've been to Peru, and I've been all over the Caribbean. I've been all over Latin America and in the Caribbean and all that. And I remember when I went to Peru, and Mexico's the same thing. And I've been deep in Mexico. I'm not talking about just over the border. I've been deep in Mexico. far away from the United States and way south. And these areas are just as rich and abundant as we are in this country. And the reason that they've never developed in their third world nations is because they've always been run by criminals like we have here. And what happened in this country after the Second World War, before the Second World War, the United States was not really a player. Okay, we were not an international player before the Second World War. Not really. We were becoming one, with Roosevelt a little bit, but not really. We really weren't. And I know I'm going to bunch of comments about this and that. We were not a world leader, a world player, really until after the Second World War. And what had happened, this is when everything went south in this country. It was the beginning, was the end of the Second World War. Europe was devastated, bombed out of existence. Germany and Europe had just been pillaged and was in bad shape. So they had the Marshall Plan, and the United States rebuilt Europe. We blew it all up because we were at war with Germany, and plus the Nazis, they did a lot too, But so we went back and rebuilt it, and that was big money. That's when the politicians in Washington started selling us out and started like the big guy Biden gets us 10%. Yeah. That's when these public officials were always stealing money through earmarks and everything, but it was on a much smaller scale. With the Marshall Plan, when we rebuilt Europe after the Second World War, that was like winning the Powerball lottery.
Yeah, because they had all these huge contracts.
Yeah, and then that took many years, and they got all that money, and of course they formed NATO, and then they started stealing the officials, and then we became a major international trade nation, big time, bigger than ever before. And this really, the next phase, and I'm a big fan of Richard Nixon, by the way. People don't like Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon got a bad rap, just like Trump. But the one thing Richard Nixon did that was very bad for this country, it had nothing to do with Watergate. That was nothing. He didn't do anything with that. What Nixon did is when he opened up China, and that old saying, you've heard it a million times, only Nixon can go to China, whatever that means. Nixon opening up China was the beginning of the next thing when they started selling the country out. I'll give you an example on how they sell us out. Obviously, Biden is in bed with the Middle Eastern countries, right? Saudi Arabia's made all these deals. He's slowed down as much as possible U.S. oil production. With President Trump, we were number one. And they do it under the guise of all this green BS. When we aren't producing oil, what does it do? It drives up the price of oil for the Saudis and the other OPEC nations and things like this. The entire United States government and Washington are all on the take. Donald Trump made his living building and selling real estate and memberships to exclusive clubs and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. All these politicians, not just Biden, all of them, what they sell is the one thing they can sell. They sell America out. And they've been doing this since 1945. And President Trump, the one thing President Trump did that really turned them against him, I've talked about this so many times, and it gets lost, when he equalized the import-export taxes between the United States and China and Japan and these other countries. The import-export taxes were out of whack on purpose. Our leaders, remember President Trump would say in 2016, our leaders are stupid. They made these terrible deals. They're not stupid. They set them. He was being kind. They set those deals up out of whack on purpose, and they all got payoffs on it. And so anyway, he turned the world upside down in Washington, and that's why they hate him. And after I saw President Trump drive by, which was really interesting, I've not seen a Trump motorcade in a while, and they always have a decoy vehicle, mm-hmm. and I usually don't fall for the decoy vehicle, and I fell for it this time because there was a guy in the decoy vehicle which was in front of the president. He had a Trump wig on. He had the same. It was through the window tint. Up close, it may not have looked as good, but through the window tint and everything, he had the same hair as Trump. And I was like, "Oh, that's Trump." And then I realized, no, that's Trump. Seeing him drive by, and then after he drove by, I went over to the airport. You'll see this all on my YouTube video, and I watched his plane take off. And really, before we even started the podcast, he already had landed in New York, and he's in New York now, heading over to Trump Tower to be arrested tomorrow. And I just can't believe this is happening.
I know. It's awful. A lot of us can't believe it. It's awful, and I really get tired of these rhinos on TV, poo-pooing this and trying to act like they're supporting Trump when they're orchestrating all of this behind the scenes. They're a bunch of phony balonies.
Well, yeah, and I know they're saying, well, the Secret Service won't allow this. The Secret Service won't allow that. I'm going to tell you two things about that. One, the Secret Service let the FBI come in and go through Barron's bedroom, Melania's closet, and Melania's underwear drawer.
Well, they seem to be a little better now. Okay. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. This was the first, I've seen President Trump many, many times, but this was his first motorcade I had seen in a long time. And his motorcade and his detail is much smaller than it used to be. When he was in his first term, his motorcade was about a mile long. Now it was like 5 cars, 6 cars, and he doesn't have as large of a detail as he used to have.
Oh.
And once they get into that courthouse that's filled with, 200 New York City police officers that are liberal Democrats, every single one of them, and he has a handful of Secret Service agents, and they say, well, we're taking him. What are they going to do? What's going to happen? Are they
they're not going to let him. Their job is to protect him. And I would like to think that they're loyal to him and they take their job very seriously. And I think they're going to go in there, and I think Bragg is going to get a lot of resistance. And I'm sure Trump and the Secret Service have discussed this at length, and they have told him, sir, we're not going to let him do this. We're not going to let him do that. They are in charge of they supersede Bragg. They are in charge of his security. They have hierarchy over him.
But they're in enemy territory.
It doesn't matter. They are in charge. I've heard many, many people say this. They are in charge of what happens with what goes down with Trump tomorrow, and they will allow it or they won't. And I'm sure he has said to them, please don't let them get a mugshot of me. I don't want to. Maybe he does want a mugshot. I don't know. It'd be worth a lot of money. Trump's always thinking in business terms, but he's going to tell them, this is what I want. This is, and they're going to say, this is what we can do, what we can't do. I'm sure they have discussed this with his lawyers, with him, and they have a plan. He is not going in blind. Trump's very smart. He's not going to go in and being led around like a puppy dog. He's going to go in with a plan, and they're not going to let them push him around. I could tell you that. He'll go in, he'll probably get fingerprinted, and he'll have to go in front of the judge. It'll take 10 minutes. He'll go back home. But I've heard many people on the news say that they might not get the mugshot they want, that the Secret Service will not allow that to happen. They deem it as a security risk. And, so none of us are going to know until tomorrow what's really going to go down. But it's really sad. Liberals are loving this. They're having parties. Mm-hmm. They've been trying to get this to happen for the last 6 years. And, they're popping champagne and they got big parties scheduled. Enjoy it while it lasts. Well, that's all I got to say.
And let me tell you, I saw the fake news today. I went to the airport where Trump Force One is on my way to the radio station this morning, and I got there about 5:30 in the morning, and the fake news were setting up at 5:30 in the morning, and they were so happy.
Oh, yeah. DeSantis was thrilled. I saw him give a speech. I saw parts of his speech he gave Saturday in Philadelphia. I've never seen him so giddy in my life. He was absolutely glowing. I'm not kidding. He was glowing. He understands what's going on, and he sees that his path is being cleared, and that this is his chance.
Well, I had a run-in with a reporter that this was insane, and I'm going to tell you about it right after this break.
Attention all crypto investors and NFT collectors. Help make a positive impact on our environment with the Save Your Rhinos NFT collection. Brought to you by New Verse Center. New Verse Center is an established environmental company using Web3 technology. They're focused on contributing to environmentally friendly and humanitarian-focused projects. They are working to provide support to stop the poaching and habitat destruction of rhinos. The Save Your Rhinos NFT collection is your key to enter the New Verse ecosystem ecosystem and enjoy the benefits they provide for creators in the arts, business, and technology fields, all while doing their part to creating a healthy environment. Don't miss your chance. Grab a Save Your Rhinos NFT and visit newversecenter.com to learn more. newversecenter.com. Parents, are you looking for a fun and educational book for your little ones? Look no further than The Adventures of Solar Sam from author Sonny Dunny. Join the courageous young boy Sam on his journey of discovery as he explores the wonders of the universe and learns important lessons about teamwork and problem solving. Filled with vibrant illustrations and an exciting storyline, The Adventures of Solar Sam will ignite your child's imagination and inspire a love of science and discovery. The Adventures of Solar Sam is available right now at SolarSamandFriends.com, as well as Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and all major booksellers. Order your copy today and watch your child's love for science and learning soar. The Adventures of Solar Sam from author Sonny Dunny. Get your copy right now. Do you need stamps or shipping supplies? Look no further than Postal 23, an online store for all your postal needs. Right now, Postal 23 is having a 25% spring sale off everything store-wide. But that's not all. Postal 23 sells exclusive and unique items like the 2022 Forever stamps, the U.S. flag USPS first-class postage stamps coin roll, and the stamp roll dispenser. And for the little ones, check out the postal delivery pullback truck with a roll of 100 Forever stamps. This is a 1/34th scale replica that has doors that open, and it's made by Kintoy. But hurry, this authentic postal delivery pullback toy is only available while supplies last. Don't miss out on these unique items and the spring sale at Postal 23. Visit them online right now at postalannex23.com. That's the number 23. postalannex23.com. Start shopping right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Yeah, so you won't see this on the YouTube video. I was interviewed in an interview that I don't think will ever make it. You know, I don't do a lot of interviews. I tell you guys this. And I don't do a lot of interviews unless I'm familiar with the person, because I don't like giving footage to someone and then I don't know who they are and what they're going to do with it, right? But against my better judgment, I did an interview with someone today. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, just in case they might air it, but I don't think they're going to air it. And this reporter, who's with a pretty well-known organization, news outlet, he was arguing with me, which I thought reporters
That's crazy.
were supposed to report the news. They ask you a question, give an answer, they ask you another one. This guy was debating me.
Well,
and
I have a little insight into that when you're done. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Rick Grinnell said on News.
So this reporter, he's interviewing. He asked me if he could interview me. You know, the shirt that I wore to the event today with President Trump is a shirt that has President Trump's high school graduation photo on it.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite Trump shirts. It got a lot of attention. A lot of reporters took photographs of this shirt. A lot of media.
Yeah.
I had an AP photographer take a picture of. I've not seen it in any of the news stories yet, but I had a lot of reporters take pictures of this shirt. They were like blown away by it. But anyway,
It's a great shirt.
so this one reporter says, "Can I interview you?" And I didn't ask who he was with, which is very unlike me. But I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." You know, I was waiting for the president, and he asks me. He said, If you could say something to brag, what would you say?" And I said, "Tell George Soros I said hi."
That's a good one.
And you should have seen the look on his face. You should have seen the look on his face. And
Holy macaroni.
is that a good answer?
Yeah,
is that a good? You think they'll put that on TV?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
It's a hit or miss.
I don't think so. So he was asking me, you know, what I think about the charges, and I gave him an answer to that, of course, which you guys know what I think about the charges. And I said, "I'll tell you what I'm really upset about." I said, "All these people here today, Ron DeSantis isn't here.
Right.
Where's Ron DeSantis?" And then the reporter, this is when the reporter started getting, he's like, well, what could Ron DeSantis do? I said, what are any of us doing? We're out here standing and supporting him. He could be out here supporting the president. He could be in the car with him, going to the plane and flying to New York and standing beside him. Right. He could challenge the extradition order from this Soros prosecutor in New York, who he doesn't even criticize. He says, then the reporter starts arguing with me. He says, well, he really can't do anything. I said, if Carrie Lake was our governor, she'd be right out here with us right now, and you'd be interviewing her, not me. I said, and this guy's like, he's looking at me, and he's like, who is this guy? And if this makes it to TV, I'll be amazed. I mean, I just can't imagine. So then he he says to me, so I said, I said, you'd be interviewing Carrie Lake. And I said, Ron DeSantis, I said, they're arresting President Trump. He's leaving here right now to be arrested in New York. And Ron DeSantis is in New York peddling books on a book tour.
Yeah.
I said, that's outrageous. And he said, he attacked Bragg in New York. I said, he gave a speech in Long Island and he didn't mention Bragg's name once. He said he did. I said, go back and listen to it again. He did not.
Yeah.
And then the reporter
Big deal.
Then the reporter says, oh, yeah, you're right. He mentioned Bragg's name in a tweet. I said, the part that wasn't on television, he attacks Bragg. How convenient. I said, Governor DeSantis, he's too busy buddying up with Jeb Bush and Karl Rove.
That's right.
And then the reporter says to me, this was beautiful. He says, and this reporter's with a well-known news organization. If this makes it to TV, you will all know it, and I'll know it, because this was, and I was talking loud and everything else. A lot of people, and there was a crowd of people watching, and some of them were listeners, and they were watching me, and I guess they got to see me in action, because I don't, and so then he says, what evidence do you? He says Karl Rove. He says Karl Rove and him working together. What evidence do you have of that? And I said, last week, Karl Rove was on Fox News Channel. He was talking about Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign, and Karl Rove said, our campaign. He says, that's not evidence. I said, that's Karl Rove's own words saying our campaign, the DeSantis campaign.
Well, if it's not evidence, then what the hell is it?
Exactly. And then you know what he said to me? He said he had the same answer. I could not believe this. He had the same answer, this guy, to me that Leslie Stahl had to Marjorie Taylor Greene last night. He said, wow.
Wow. Saying wow to people is a thing people do. And I really don't like it. And they say it for two reasons. Because they don't have a response.
Yeah.
So they don't know what to say to you. You've got them. They don't have a comeback. And they also say it to try to make it seem like what you've said is so outrageous that it doesn't deserve a response.
Exactly.
So that's the new thing that people do. They'll be like, Harris Faulkner likes to say wow, but she means it differently. She just, but a lot of people say it because they don't know what to say.
This guy was being condescending.
Well, it is. It's condescending. And I will say this. Rick Grinnell was on Newsmax today, and he said he was explaining the media. And they were asking him about it, how they're so biased and this and that. He said, here's the deal. He said, these people live and die by party invitations.
Really?
He said, all they care about is getting invited to dinner parties and rubbing elbows with the who's who of Washington. And he said if they come out in any way, shape, or form defending Trump, they're no longer on the invitation list. Mm-hmm. He said that is all they care about here, is going to parties and rubbing elbows with these people that are high up. And he said,
it's like a Dangerous Liaisons or something, like a party, class.
And he said you're not going to get anybody defending him because if you do, you're out. You're out. Mm-hmm. And so that was very interesting. And he said that is all they care about is the people in Washington is being on the party list. I thought that was very interesting.
I can see that.
And he would know. But, it's a disgrace. It's a shame.
Yes.
And, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I wonder if Melania's with Trump. She's probably at home with Barron, I would think.
I didn't,
because he's going to apparently go back home tomorrow night.
When Trump came by me today, and I was really close to President Trump today, I was focused on him.
Yeah.
But it was not Melania sitting next to him. It was I think it might have been Dan Scavino because the guy had a camera and was filming things.
Well, they just hired some new hotshot lawyer.
But he didn't look like Grinnell when he first came by to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's been with him. But let me look because I just tweeted this article. It says here they're asking the judge to ban the cameras.
In the courtroom?
In the courtroom.
Oh, of course.
And he just brought in a top white-collar attorney, Todd Blanche, to help fight the case. I mean, I don't know what lawyer wouldn't want to be a part of this. This is the biggest case probably in our lifetime, a president being arrested. So he brought in a top white-collar crime attorney to help.
You know, if they don't air it on television, they got to air this on television.
Well, Trump doesn't want them to have
Trump doesn't want them to?
They said they're going to ask for no cameras.
I wonder why. You know, President Trump...
That's what the Daily Mail's reporting.
President Trump may not want cameras because he thinks it makes him look like he's subservient to someone.
No, I think it's a little reverse psychology here.
Really?
I think he's telling them we don't want cameras so the judge will allow cameras. These liberals do the opposite.
Oh. Yeah,
these liberals do the opposite of whatever Trump wants.
That's psychops.
Psychops. So I think he is going to request that so the judge will allow the cameras. I mean, that's a Trump chess move right there. He knows he probably says to his lawyers, they'll do the opposite of whatever I ask. So let's ask for no cameras and then we'll get cameras.
The media...
Trump loves a good TV show.
The media want cameras in there and they have a lot of power because it's big ratings and the media have a lot of power.
No, I think he'll allow it. He is not going to deprive the liberals of this visual. I'll tell you right now.
When this is on television... and people see how absurd the case is of Bragg's and how desperate the case is of Bragg's, it's going to be beautiful.
I mean, then somebody explained the 33 counts, and it was a good explanation.
Do we know the felony yet?
No.
Yeah, that's the big
I don't
kahuna.
think so. Somebody said the 33 counts is like if a kid went in a candy store and stole 33, this is Pam Bondi said this, and stole 33 pieces of candy.
Like
and
33 jelly beans.
And they charged them for each jelly bean instead of just one theft. Mm-hmm. And she said that's what this is about, what this is similar to. She said the multiple counts are BS. She said that's what it would be like.
Well, I got to tell you, President Trump's plane must be so fast. It got to New York so quickly from Palm Beach.
It's really not a very – people don't realize it's only a 2.5 hour flight.
No, it's a short flight.
It's not a big flight.
It's a short flight.
New York is actually probably further south than most people think.
But I thought it was really amazing how many – people have shown up in front of Trump Tower and supported President Trump. And, you know,
he left from Palm Beach.
Yeah, you know,
so
today,
it's only 2 hours.
Today, there were not any counter protesters. There were no Democrats. There were some people that came by and said F you and gave the middle finger. I will tell you this, though. The police are not our friends, okay? I go to these events with Trump all the time, and the local police are nasty and so rude to us. There was one guy, you'll see him in my YouTube video. He was being so nasty. He was really being nasty to the MAGA people. I was calling him Officer Brandon, and it took a while for people to get into the crowd.
That's pretty funny.
He was. You could just see it in his face. Yeah. He was in a rage at our MAGA hats.
Rick Grinnell also said something interesting, which is true. The common denominator with liberals is acceptance. He said they crave.
What do you mean?
He said they crave acceptance.
Oh, from their peers?
Into the circles that they want to be in. And he said, so they will tailor their behavior to gain acceptance. Even if they lie, cheat, and steal, they don't care. He said the media, the people in the media, they want to be accepted into that inner circle.
You know what it's like?
They will toe the party line to get in.
It's like Pretty in Pink or something going on here. It's like a popular.
It's high school. Yeah. They want to be with the cool kids.
It's high school.
So they will. He said they want to be accepted in. They want the party invitation. I've never heard anybody, and I think that was pretty true.
The media are a poison on our society, and they probably already were. I read a book about 15 or 20 years ago that I wish I still had. It was on the gunfight at the OK Corral. And a lot of people don't know this. The Earps and the Clantons, right? The Earps were Republicans and the Clantons were Democrats. Mm-hmm. And they had two newspapers in town. One was a Republican paper and one was a Democrat paper. And the newspapers were causing this rivalry to get worse. This idea that Republicans and Democrats are just now divided. It's always been this way in this country. Look up bloody Kansas. All these things that have gone on in American history. That was prior to the Civil War, by the way. Bloody Kansas. It was right before, and it's an amazing, terrible thing that the Democrats brought us. But the Democrats and the Republicans, you would think we have just minor differences, but that's not true. I mean, we have a shared language, and we live in the same country, and we have the same heritage. But they see the world completely different. They want a total elite control over the masses of this country.
Well, yeah, they love control. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that movie, one of my favorite movies. I've not seen it in years, and I would love it to get a good remake that was higher budget with Rodney Piper. They Live.
That's a great
and
movie.
They Live. I know most of you are probably familiar with They Live. If not, watch it. It's a very good movie. It's a short movie, and it's incredible. I think it's Wes Craven did They Live. But Roddy Piper finds these sunglasses, and then all of a sudden he sees all these subliminal...
He sees the truth. It's
these
like
subliminal
the Matrix
suggestions.
too.
Yeah, these subliminal suggestions around.
Yeah.
And aliens have invaded and taken over the earth, we don't know for how long, and they get people to work for them by making them rich or famous, and sometimes both.
Yeah.
In fact, one of them's a television news person in the movie, if I remember correctly. And that's kind of what's going on here now. The media have been bought by the powers that be in Washington with money and fame.
Yeah. They sell their soul. They sell their soul. And I feel like DeSantis has crossed that threshold and has sold his soul
to the devil.
And then there's no going back once they do that, Brian. How many people come back from that? None of them.
These reporters, like today when I saw these reporters, there were a lot of the national jerks were all there, right? But there were a lot of local reporters from South Florida, and there is such a different tone between the national reporters and the local reporters. The local reporters are cool.
For the most part. We have a few here that do cover the Mar A Lago, and
they're liberal.
They're pretty liberal. We have one local guy, every time he covers Mar A Lago, he brings on a local attorney to explain all the legal problems Trump's having. So that's a little
no, but what I mean, I saw
but they're nicer.
4 or 5 local reporters from our local stations in South Florida that are all recognizable if you live down here and watch TV, in Palm Beach and Broward and Miami. And they're nice to the crowd. They're calm. They want to talk to the crowd.
Yeah, they're more friendly.
These national media, when you'll see this in my YouTube video, I showed this a little bit. The national media have camped out in that one little area I like, in that public park area. They've taken over the public park and next to Mar A Lago, and they brought in tents. Now they have tents. They're under tents. They have security guards. The media have
because they are convinced that we are dangerous.
Yeah, I've never seen this before. They want to believe that.
Yeah,
and they have these.
They're self-important.
They have these big guys. Yeah. They're huge, and guarding their tents from MAGA and a lot of these MAGA people.
My God.
When I went over to Mar A Lago, it was early, and the only MAGA people there were like old ladies in their MAGA gear, and then they got these huge guys that the media are so self-important.
They are. Most of the people that go to Mar A Lago are older, I've noticed.
Especially during the work week, like today.
They're mostly retired, older people. But yeah, they have convinced themselves that we're dangerous. I mean, they've called us horrible names, and you're right, it's being self-important. I saw the security guard on your vlog you made today. It was ridiculous.
They were watching me when I was down there filming.
What do they think we're going to do?
They think January 6th.
Yeah, which really was Antifa.
Yeah, they think that we are a mob. They think we are, and I'll tell you, this now I could be reading into this, okay, a little too much, but maybe I'm not.
No, I don't think you are.
Okay. They think that we're Nazis and Klansmen, right? The Democrats. The security guards that they had that the different media outlets had at their tents at Mar A Lago were all black. And every one of them, everyone that was guarding a media tent was a black guy, and they were big. And a couple of them, one in particular, when I was making my YouTube video, was really giving me dirty looks. To them, that Make America Great Again hat on is the swastika.
Yeah, no.
Is a Klansman's hood.
That's how they see it.
That's how they see it.
Yeah.
And I think they bring in security guards with that mindset to give them a little extra added level of whatever. I just don't believe.
Well, what's the thinking of how all security guards are black?
The ones they hired were.
So you think they do that on purpose? I think they see them as more menacing.
I think they hired.
I mean, we know they're bigots.
No, I think they hired very liberal black security guards that think MAGA people are Klansmen, so that they're angry at us, so that their security is angry at us.
Well,
and let me tell you,
they get over themselves. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, so Trump's in New York right now, and tomorrow much is going to be revealed. Okay, but I really cannot understand why he did not challenge extradition to New York. And
I'm sure he has a reason. I'm sure he has a reason.
I just don't know what it is.
You always say trust Trump, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure there's a reason behind him doing that.
Well, listen, New York is very left wing, but President Trump is born and raised up there, and he knows a lot of people in New York. So you got to trust Trump to analyze the situation in New York with this. He knows New York.
Yeah.
So I always
said, though, in Manhattan, 90% of the people voted for Biden.
Yeah.
So that is what the jury pool is coming from. So I think, a lot of people, I heard your callers saying how, talking about the law this, the law that. These people don't care about the rule of law. If they cared about the rule of law, this would not be happening.
Correct.
That's what you have to understand. They're following their own playbook here, and this is their Hail Mary. They've tried everything. Nothing has worked. So now they're using Bragg, who really is just being a useful idiot. They're using him because if things go south, he'll take all the blame for it. Mm-hmm. That's why all these federal prosecutors turned this down, because they knew it was a loser case. They had 3 federal prosecutors. So now they're using this idiot in New York locally to do it, and he'll take all the heat because it's not going to go well. It's going to fall apart. I'm telling you right now. First of all, this case is beyond the statute of limitations. So that's one problem right there. The other problem is Trump has proof that he never paid anybody anything. That's another problem. He has proof that Stormy Daniels said the affair never happened. She's been extorting money from him. So this is all going to fall apart
Trump's a victim.
For the liberals. And, I think about when Hillary was running for president, when they showed her and Bill and Chelsea backstage popping champagne and celebrating. And then about an hour later, things weren't so good. So enjoy your champagne, liberals, because you're going to be crying in your beer with Dylan Mulvaney soon enough.
Well, listen, we're going to take our last break and be right back.
Are you struggling to connect with your teen? Are you worried about the troubles your teen is facing in today's world? Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to faith-led parenting with the book from Script Seeds, Parenting Teens Through Faith, available on Amazon. Parenting Teens Through Faith is your essential handbook to raising confident, resilient, and empowered teenagers. This book provides practical advice for providing a strong, faith-based foundation for building character, virtues, and resilience in your teen. You'll also discover essential biblical principles for providing hope and confidence, no matter your faith background. Start building a stronger, more resilient family with Parenting Teens Through Faith, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. This book is perfect for church groups. Order your copy right now. Time is precious, especially when it comes to our brain health. In the past, Alzheimer's was thought to only affect the elderly, but today, there's a concerning rise in cases in younger individuals. It's time to take proactive measures. Introducing Brain Health Protocol, an Alzheimer's defense, from author Steve Sargent. This comprehensive guide will help you understand the multiple factors contributing to Alzheimer's and provide actionable steps to minimize your risk of falling prey to its devastating effects. Even if you or a loved one has already been diagnosed, there's hope. Brain Health Protocol offers strategies to potentially save your brain from further decline. Don't wait until it's too late. Get your copy of Brain Health Protocol, an Alzheimer's defense, from author Steve Sargent on Amazon, and take control of your brain health. Are you looking for unique and beautiful crafts, gifts, and home decor that will bring happiness to your life? Look no further than veteran-owned ActicFox Market, an Etsy shop that's based in Texas and features handmade personalized gifts and home decor with the option for customization. ActicFox Market takes pride in their work and strive to create pieces that will bring a smile to your face every time you look at them. They welcome special requests and personalizations, so don't hesitate to message them with any questions or requests you may have. They offer bulk order discounts on select items. ActicFox Market is owned by a proud mother of 4 who started creating resin crafts as a hobby, and it's now become her passion. Each piece is unique, ensuring that there are no two exactly alike. Visit ActicFox Market right now at etsy.com/shop/ActicFox Market Resin. That's etsy.com/shop/ActicFox Market Resin. When you visit the shop, view the inventory. You will be impressed. Etsy.com/shop/ActicFox Market Resin.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Back in 2016, when everyone was yelling, lock her up, to Hillary Clinton, I was the only MAGA person that said, that's a bad idea. Okay, I know she's a criminal. She's a bigger criminal than her husband because she's the mastermind of that, of their, what Hillary did. She's not as smart as Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's a very smart guy. I know he's all checked out now and he looks awful, but back in his heyday, he was a brilliant, sharp guy. But what Hillary Clinton's job was, she was like Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction. She was the cleanup person.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, who'd want to clean up after Bill Clinton? Yuck!
Oh yeah, that's exactly
not a fun job.
Well, a terrible person who will do anything to be president, right? And look what it got her. But
absolutely nowhere.
Like, for example, the Vince Foster suicide. People don't understand a lot of times what was the scandal about that. A lot of people believe, and I think this is 50-50, that he committed suicide at his office at the White House and Hillary had his body moved to the park. A lot of people believe that.
If you watch that impeachment show, that's the first thing that happens, isn't it? His death.
It happens in the beginning.
And then it takes off from there.
Yeah, and see, she worked with him at that Rose Law Firm in Little Rock, and they had all kinds of scummy deals going on there. And so she was always involved in covering up for Bill Clinton, too. And she did a lot of crimes. And one of the things she did that was just god-awful was just destroy the lives of any woman that her husband victimized sexually. But anyway, when they
she covered up a lot of his crimes.
The Clinton Foundation is like the car wash in Breaking Bad. It was a money laundering operation.
Yes.
The Clintons, I remember when Bill Clinton left office, they started, all of a sudden he was doing speeches around the world. And he was being paid $250,000 to talk for an hour.
Yeah, like Hunter with his artwork.
And people used to say, what is he saying? Why is he worth so much money?
Yeah.
And then what came to be is that, Hillary eventually, she was in the Senate at the time, so she had a lot of power. And then she became Secretary of State. And what she would do is she would set up corrupt deals, and the way they would pay the Clintons off for their crooked dealings was to hire Bill to give a speech and pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they got their bribe money for their corruption. And I know they did a lot of other terrible things. But when everyone was saying about Hillary Clinton, lock her up, I always says, no, don't do that. Once you lock up a former first lady, they're going to go after Melania. They're going to go after Don Jr. Yeah. So I am not in favor of locking up presidents or first ladies. Now, other members of government are different, okay? A lot of congressmen have gone to jail. I have no problem putting Hunter in prison. He's a criminal. But you start putting presidents and first ladies in prison, we cease to become a free country. Yeah. And Donald Trump is not going to be the first president arrested.
I'm
sorry. He is. Let me rephrase that. He's not going to be the last president arrested.
No, you're right.
He'll be the first, but there will be a second.
I kind of am glad he's
This
going.
will be the new thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad he's going. At first, I was kind of like you, thinking he should fight it, and I was thinking it'd be good for him to force DeSantis's hand.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about it, and I'm glad he's going because I think it makes him look stronger to go and face it and not show any fear at all. We know he's not afraid of anything, and if he he's not going to let anybody make him think that he's running away from something. And he's never run away from anything in his life. He runs towards the danger. Unlike most people who run away from danger, Trump runs towards the danger. So I think for him to go, and I'm not saying face it like a man, nothing like that, but just to go and take it head on is a good thing. Because he would just be dragging out the inevitable. They're going to get this, whatever they do, they're going to get it. So I think he just wants to get it over with and move on and get back to campaigning. But the gag order I'm concerned about. And, but I think the judge will issue that. And I don't know how much, what he can talk about. What you said, you had interviewed Ron Goldman this morning a long time ago when he had a gag order. Mm-hmm. So he can still speak. Nobody's keeping him from speaking, but he won't be able to mention certain things about this, or he could be put in jail for that. So he has to be very, very careful. We don't want to see Trump ending up in jail. That's for sure.
Well, President Trump,
30 days in jail.
You know what?
So he needs to be careful if there's a gag order.
President Trump is so smart. Right? He is so smart. He's got something planned. He really does, and he'll come up. So. He'll come up with some evidence. He'll come up with look at what he did with this grand jury. Right? He went public on Friday about them arresting him. All right, a couple Fridays ago, and then on Monday they brought in that witness Costello, who totally exposed Michael Cohen as a liar. They still are indicting him. But look at how he did that. Donald Trump doesn't do anything without a reason and being prepared.
And I don't mean this to sound bad, but he is getting a lot of publicity out of this. They were talking about this on the news yesterday, how all the news is focused on him now. They've been trying to ignore Trump forever. Yeah. And now that's all anybody's talking about 24/7 again. Yeah. And that doesn't fall short on Trump because that always helps him. Yeah. That always helps his campaign. That always helps him get more people, more funding for his campaign. So I'm sure, that's the way he's viewing it too. Like people are talking about me in the press. Yeah. This is a good thing. And, Trump is an optimist and he always has a way of seeing things with, it's a glass full, half full. And I think he'll view it that way, telling people, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. They're talking about it. It's in the press. Everybody's talking about this. That's a good thing. That'll help us. That'll help our cause because they've been trying to ignore him for so long. I mean, now they're actually interviewing him on Fox again. He was on Hannity a week or so ago. So they're actually doing that. But I heard something interesting today. Like I said, I saw clips of Ron DeSantis speaking Saturday. He's like glowing. He's so excited about this. They really think he's going to resign or something, Trump. But somebody on Newsmax said something so ridiculous. She's a big Ron DeSantis person. And she was talking how the people love him and this and that. And they said, yeah, but what about the polls? They're like, Trump's ahead by 30 points.
33.
It's getting
33
worse.
33 in the new one.
She said, well, DeSantis hasn't announced he's running yet. Oh. As soon as he announces he's running, those numbers will change.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. And then she said, Jeb Bush didn't announce, or she mentioned Jeb Bush. She said Trump didn't announce till June. And so I think they're waiting till the summer. And she said, and the poll numbers were not good for him, and those change and this and that. This is a very different circumstance.
That's wishful
what's
thinking.
Going on here. This is not an ordinary election season at all. This is like nothing we've ever seen. So throw out all those old rules because this is a whole new ballgame here.
Yeah. Now, I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Your support of the program helps us out a lot, and it does mean a lot to us. And if you would like to support the show by becoming a patron, there's a link in the description of this and every episode and a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. Now, the direct website address to our Patreon page is patreon.com/realbriancraigshow. Patreon.com/realbriancraigshow. Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes, by the way. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air shout-out thank you on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela. Little doorbell in the background. Rick.
That's my phone, sorry.
Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox and Cindy.
And we have another new Patreon.
Oh.
That I want to mention, K-Mac. So that's just today.
Cool name.
We got another new Patreon, K-Mac. So thank you,
welcome.
everybody, for your support. It really does mean a lot because, like I've said before, Brian especially works so hard on this show, on the YouTube channel. And, you know, if you can support it financially, that's great. If not, that's okay too. But any support is helpful and means a lot to us. It really does help the channel a lot. So thank you so much. And I also want to mention we have a new t-shirt shop. I mentioned it yesterday. It's called thetrumpmerch.com, thetrumpmerch.com. And what we're doing differently than the last t-shirt shop, we had a lot of stuff in there. Almost too much, I think. So we decided to limit it to about 3 or 4 designs. And we have some new designs. We brought back the 0% liberal. That's very popular. I ordered one for Brian. But we have a couple other new designs. And we're doing it through Spreadshirt now, which is actually better quality shirts than the last company that we worked with. The prices are still comparable. But it's a better quality shirt. So, because we've ordered from Spreadshirt before.
And what's going to happen?
It's just 4 designs. We're going to keep it limited so it doesn't get too confusing.
Now, we don't know what the limited number is going to be, but it won't be many more than 4, if more than 4.
No more than 5.
And I think what we'll do is when we come up with a new idea, we'll retire one of the older ones.
Yeah, we'll keep these for now. And it's thetrumpmerch.com. And we have some designs have stickers, some have mugs. There's t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve shirts. So I ordered Brian a couple. He'll be wearing them on the show as soon as we get them in. You guys can see them.
You said some of them come in sweatshirts. I like the sweatshirts.
Some come in sweatshirts, long sleeve, t-shirts, women's, men's. So that's exciting. So thetrumpmerch.com. Check it out. That is our t-shirt shop, and that directly benefits the show as well.
That's awesome. Well, everyone, we are out of time for today. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel and watch, of course, all the videos on my YouTube channel, but watch my vlog of the president leaving and heading to New York to be arrested. I think you'll find it interesting, and it's really sad. I mean, you'll see the video. After the president drove by me, it's always exciting to see President Trump, and I had 2 little shots of adrenaline there because the double that came by first with the wig, the Trump wig on, caught me. And I thought that was Trump. And then I realized, no. And then I saw the real, so I got it. I got twice. I got excited twice, you know. But as soon as
Don't hurt yourself.
But as soon as he was gone, it sunk in. It's really sad what's going on. It's sad for our country.
Don't be sad because, I was thinking about it real quick. In the Bible, Paul was imprisoned for it. I don't want Trump to get in prison, but he was imprisoned.
No.
He was imprisoned in Rome for 2 years, and he wrote letters. Look what he accomplished because it was part of God's plan. He got out, and he basically started the whole church. I mean, his efforts. He went around and started little, satellite churches all over that area in Syria and everywhere. Traveled everywhere. And when he was in prison, he wrote a lot of these letters that we read today in the Bible. Yeah. I don't want Trump to be in jail. But what my point is that I truly believe that God is using Trump to expose the corruption of our government. And when you are chosen by God to do these things, it does not mean you will not meet with adversity. You will. This is a fallen world. And the more they fight with Trump, only shows you, and atheists and liberals won't understand this, but the more they fight him and try to stop him, it tells you from a biblical point of view that the more right he is. Yeah. And you have to understand that God is in control. And I think Trump is more faithful than people realize.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, I know his wife's very religious, and I think that he is really holding on to his faith. And he is saying, whatever happens, this is part of God's plan. And I am just a vessel. And I really feel that we have to just not be sad, have faith, and pray. Pray. I pray all the time for President Trump and his family. Keep praying. Liberals laugh at us for praying. But, the Bible tells us we will be mocked for our beliefs. And just hold the course and just pray, support him. And if you can donate money to his campaign, that's important too. And you could, like I said yesterday, you can click a box for some of it to go to his legal defense. So that's important.
Well, listen, we are all out of time for today, but we will be back next time. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you then.
Life can be tough. It's full of trials and tribulations, and sometimes it's hard to find the strength to keep going. But what if I told you that these challenges could lead to great blessings? Author Tyler Osborne knows this firsthand. He's been through some of the darkest days, and yet he's come out on the other side stronger and more blessed than ever before. Tyler's new book, Broken to Be Blessed, is now available on Amazon. In it, the author shares his personal journey from rock bottom to a life filled with hope, happiness, and success. Tyler's story will inspire you to keep going, even when times are tough. You'll learn how to turn your struggles into opportunities and come out on top. So if you're feeling broken, lost, or in need of a little inspiration, check out Broken to Be Blessed from author Tyler Osborne on Amazon. It's the book that will help you turn your trials into triumphs. Broken to Be Blessed, available now on Amazon. Get your copy today and start your journey towards a blessed life.